You've been trying for a long time to figure out how to be truly successful in your life, and maybe you've achieved quite a lot. Maybe you have a lot of outward success, but the thing you're missing is inner peace. Hi, I'm Liam Naden, and welcome to my podcast, Let Yourself Off the Hook. As someone who has studied success for decades, I have found the formula for achieving your dreams and goals, and it's all to do with how you use your brain. Each week on my show, I will provide you with the tools, resources, and expertise to utilize your brain to its ultimate potential and remove the barriers to your success. And as you'll discover, true success in every area of your life only comes when you let yourself off the hook. Well, hi there, and welcome to the first episode of Let Yourself Off the Hook. I'm Liam Naden. I don't know how you found me. I don't know why you're here, but I hope you're here for the same reason I'm here, which is to talk about your success. And I know you've probably heard this word success so many times before, and you're thinking, do I really need to learn more about how to be successful? I mean, how many books do I need to read? How many people do I need to listen to? How many podcasts do I need to listen to? But here's the thing. You're probably like me in the sense that you've been trying for a long time to figure out how to be truly successful in your life, and maybe you've achieved quite a lot. Maybe you have a lot of outward success, but the thing you're missing is inner peace. In other words, aren't you still frustrated? And I know I used to be for years. I was chasing after success and trying so many different approaches, everything from religion and spirituality to sort of motivational self-help, all these different ideas, trying to find true success. And I got a lot of outward success, but where's the real success? Where is the feeling of success? And I think that's what we're all really looking for. And you're probably wondering, what does let yourself off the hook mean? I mean, is it another one of these, oh, you have to just let go and give up and allow the great things of life to come to you and just close your eyes and meditate and visualize and everything will come right? Well, you've probably tried all of that, and you probably know that doesn't work either, or not really very effectively. I've certainly tried all that, and I've noticed that approach didn't really work for me either. So maybe you've tried all of these different things, and maybe you're thinking, I want to get rid of the frustration. And that's really what this podcast is all about. This podcast is about showing you a different approach to real success, and not just outward success, although that's it as well. I mean, this isn't just about feeling good while the world is collapsing around you and thinking and trying to convince yourself that you feel good when you feel terrible and it's all falling to bits. It's nothing to do with that. But it is about getting the thing you really want, which is to feel in control of your life. It's to feel like, my life is really working, and probably even more important than my life is really working. But I see the point now. I see what this is all about. Because, for years, and maybe, again, I'm speaking to you as well as myself when I say I understand how you're probably feeling, that you feel that there's, no matter what you do, there's something inside which says, I'm not there yet. I don't know what it is. There's something I'm missing. There's a feeling that I'm always thinking is just outside my reach, that the thing I'm really looking for, it's almost like you don't even quite know what it is, but it's a feeling, it's a knowing that there's something about life that you're not really getting, that you're missing. And you can be chasing all of the success in the world and becoming multi-millionaire, achieving all the outward success, have the great relationship, have the wonderful family life, achieve all your goals and all of those things. But somehow, very often, or most of the time, there's still an emptiness inside, isn't there? There's this feeling like, is this all there is? It's like when I became very successful financially and on the outside, so many times I'd say to myself, is this all there is? I've reached my goals, I've achieved my goals, but still there seems to be something missing. Perhaps I need to set a bigger goal, achieve more, and get back on the stress roller coaster to achieve more, be more, do more, have more. But I also got to the point of thinking, I really would like to know how to get rid of all the stress out of my life. I'm sick of it. I'm sick of continually having to deal with problems. And I know everyone tells you, yes, problems are good, and you have to, they're a natural part of life, and you have to overcome your challenges. And that's what you need to do. It makes you stronger. It makes you better. It's a good part of life. But let's be honest here. And one of the things about this podcast is I'm going to be totally honest with you. It's not a good feeling, is it? Being stressed and frustrated. You really deep down wish, okay, well, maybe I can accept, maybe there's a benefit to stress and problems, and I can say, okay, yes, I can explain it in a good way. But wouldn't you like to really know if there was a way to actually get rid of your stress and problems while still having outward success as well? Well, that's what letting yourself off the hook is actually all about. And it's what this podcast is all about. Because I've been down that track, as I said earlier, of studying all of these different types of success. But it's only when I learned to let myself off the hook, which I'll explain in a lot more detail what that means. And that isn't just a fancy new age idea. It's actually based in science, philosophy, religion. This is very practical. But it's only when I learned to do that that I actually started to achieve real success, both on the inside, feeling a lot better, feeling in control of my life, feeling like my life actually had a purpose, feeling like this was the meaning that I'd been looking for all my life, getting rid of that empty feeling of, is this all there is, and I don't know what else to do, and almost depression or despair that you would never actually find that thing you're looking for, that meaning to life. So it's about that, getting that feeling on the inside. That's inner success. And also achieving outer success. And what is outer success really? It's not actually, I'm sure you'll agree with this, it's not actually getting the millions. It's not having everybody else tell you, wow, you're an amazing person because you've got a huge business, or you've got a great career, or you've got a wonderful family life. It might include all of those things, but true success on the outside is having all of the things in your life that make you really happy. In other words, having what you need on the outside to give you what you want on the inside, which is to feel great. And that's what letting yourself off the hook does for you. And I'll say right up front about this whole podcast, this is a different approach. This is not the sort of approach you're going to hear from most people about how to achieve success. You've probably heard about you have to set goals. You have to put in massive action. You have to be determined. You have to overcome challenges. You have to learn. You have to gather more and more information. You have to read books. You have to go to courses. You have to do seminars. You have to commit yourself to learning how to achieve and how to be successful. But here's the funny thing. Wouldn't you agree that it's interesting how we're all being told that, but how many of us, and are you really getting that much closer to the feeling of success, to getting rid of that empty despair that, what's this all about really? Or are you just chasing after success? Are you just doing more and more, putting in more and more effort and thinking, if I just learn a bit more, I'll crack it. I'll finally make that breakthrough that I'm looking for, where I'll get rid of the stress. I'll get rid of the problems. But it never really happens, does it? And that's the reality, is that we're all chasing, most people, and I was like this for decades, chasing after success in that next idea, that next breakthrough, the next thing I had to do. The more information I had to learn, I had to try harder, all of those sorts of things. But I never really got over my problems and stress. And the wonderful part about what I do with people and how I help them, it's really based on how I help myself, on how I learned to take a different approach. And for me, It took me to lose everything. Here I was on the treadmill of success, if you like, achieving more, setting bigger goals every year. And I did become more and more successful. I made more and more money. I had more and more stuff, more and more things. I was doing, traveling and having multiple homes and doing all that sort of stuff. But I had lots of stress and problems. And it took me, what I don't hope for you really, but it took me to lose everything I had, to have to be forced to take a different approach. And it's only when I took that different approach that the magic started to happen in my life. And I know what you're thinking, oh, magic. This isn't another one of those podcasts about, the law of attraction, and you just sit there and visualize and everything comes to you and you don't have to put any effort and all that. It's nothing about that. It's about taking a different approach. But what turns out to be, as I discovered when I back engineered, because I had to find out what was I doing differently, this is actually based in science. It's based on the natural laws, and achieving real success in your life is as natural a law as allowing your heart to beat, allowing yourself to breathe, knowing that if you're going to walk out a 10-story building, you're going to fall down because you're governed by a law that is beyond your control. In that case, obviously, it's the law of gravity. You can pray all you want. You can be motivated. You can spend your life sitting and visualizing and convincing yourself, rewiring your brain, if you like, changing your beliefs, convincing yourself that you're going to walk out that 10-story building and you're going to go up into the air, that you're going to fly. You can spend a lifetime working on that, but it's not going to change the fact that you're going to walk out that building and you're going to go straight down, because there's something bigger than you. There's something bigger than what you think that is in control. And if you really stop and think about it, if you look around, just take a moment right now just to calm your mind wherever you are, if you're driving or if you're, working out or just listening to this in your office or at home or whatever, just take a moment with me and just stop and think, what is going on here? Look around. What is all of this? What is holding everything together? What is my body? This incredible thing, we have a body which we have no clue really about how it works. We're certainly not aware of all of the things that are going on inside our body in every moment, and all of the things that are going on around us and in this universe in every moment. We're not aware of these things, but there's something that's holding it all together, isn't there? Because otherwise it wouldn't exist. We wouldn't exist. So just take that moment and think and look around and stop your thinking brain from going on full bore all the time and go, yes, there's definitely something going on here. This is amazing. What's happening all around me? So that's what we're going to focus on in this podcast, is what is going on around you? What is going on inside you? And there's going to be a lot of learning about new stuff about who you are. But the main thing is to come to that awareness that who you think you are and how you think your life works out is not really how it works. It's not who you think you are. It's not how your life works out. There's something else going on. And the great thing is you can find out what that other something else actually is. And the more we get into this, the more you realize it's not that complicated. But unfortunately, we've made it complicated. We've got into this habit, and it is only a habit of thinking, I've got to learn more. I've got to put in more effort. I've got to try more. But let's face it, if you're doing the wrong things, it doesn't matter how hard you try or how motivated you are, it's not going to work. I mean, imagine going on a diet and someone says to you, you say, right, I'm going to lose some weight. And someone says to you, or I'm going to go on a diet, right? And you look around for what's a good diet? And someone says, well, this is a great diet. You eat 10 pounds of sugar a day, don't eat any fruit or vegetables, sit in a corner, don't do any exercise. That's bad for you. And just eat all of this food that's full of sugar, full of preservatives and fat. Now, the reality is, if you're going to follow that diet, now that person might be really convincing. And they might say to you, this, I have all the proof, all the, they say they do, but they don't actually have any. But they will say to you, this is the diet that works. And more importantly, you become convinced that that diet would work. So you're convinced that diet would work and you do it. And what happens? You don't lose weight. You put on more weight and you feel terrible as well. So you think, I'm not doing it enough. I need to eat more of those foods. I got up out of bed this morning. That's too much. That's too much movement. I need to stop moving. So you carry on doing more and more, and because you're convinced that you're on the right track, but you're not. You're on completely the wrong track and you're getting the wrong results. And that's really my suggestion or challenge to you in listening to this podcast, is to think, am I really on the right track with my life? And if I'm really honest, am I getting fewer problems in my life, or do I keep getting more problems? Am I less stressed in my life, or am I getting more stressed? Am I getting more of what I want in my life, or am I really getting less of what I want and keep thinking I need to keep pushing and keep going down a track to try and get what I want? So you need to be really honest with yourself, because if you're not getting closer to those feelings of real and knowing that you're on the right track, that things are going well in your life, if you're not getting closer to that, then you're getting further away. And it's no good buying into the notion, the idea, oh, well, you have to commit to a few years of hard work and then all the rewards are at the end. That's not natural either. Who wants to do that? Because the reality is, for most people who do that, they spend 30 years struggling to get somewhere. They get to somewhere, then they retire, and then they die, which is tragic. And then before they die, they realize that they've wasted all that time in their life, that instead of really enjoying and living and feeling a success in every moment of their life, they've left it till the end, and the end is too late. So letting yourself off the hook. Let's talk about what this is. This is about outward success, and it's about inner success. It's about true success in your life, and it's a means to get you there, because letting yourself off the hook, what that really is about understanding how your brain works. Remember, I mentioned earlier about walking off a 10-story building. You're governed by natural laws, and you have this thing called your brain, which is your mechanism for success. It's designed to make you successful. And success in biological terms, in other words, in the terms of your brain, is when you're the best you can be. The best you can be. And the best you can be isn't someone with problems and stress. When you felt your best, have you had problems and stress in your life? Or have they been those moments when you go, I can feel the power within me and life is amazing? Maybe it's when you fell in love with somebody for the first time or the second time. But maybe when you fell in love, or when you achieved something really important in your life, maybe the birth of one of your children, and you just had this feeling, wow, this is an amazing feeling. So that's where we're going to get to. That's where I'm committed to helping you get to, is to recover that feeling, which is actually your natural state. And it comes a little bit from understanding that the machine you've got here, that your brain is naturally designed to get you into that place, so that you're getting everything you want on the outside and everything that you're getting on the inside. And we're going to talk through, I'm going to back this up, because there's two things about this podcast that I want to make plain. One is, everything I tell you and everything we discuss is going to be based on evidence and proof. I'm not going to ask you to believe anything, okay? But I'm going to present you with some ideas, information, and then I'm asking you to evaluate it for yourself. Does it really seem true to you? It's not something you'd like to think was right. I don't want this to be a podcast where you go, well, he must know what he's talking about, so I'll believe him. It's not about that, because all of the truth is already inside you, and you'll know it when you hear it and when you see it. So that's the first really important thing. Everything is going to be about truth, and verifiable truth that you can prove to yourself, both from an information point of view and also from an experience point of view, so that when you experience what I'm talking about, what I'm suggesting you try, then you will, and when you experience the results you get from that, in other words, that they actually work, then you will know that it's the truth. You don't need to believe. It's not like a diet where you have to hope one day that you'll lose weight, but you'll know, you'll see the results all the way along that it works. And the other thing this podcast is about developing new habits, because a lot of the things I'm going to talk about are about how to do things differently. And firstly, it comes from understanding that there is a different way to do things, and it is the right way. But of course, you need to turn it into a habit, because you, throughout your whole life, all of us, all our lives are built on habits. But if we've created all of the wrong habits, or a lot of the habits that don't work for us, that's why we've got the results we haven't got. Or should I say, the results we don't want is from the wrong habits. So you can know everything, you can know the truth, but until you turn it into a habit, it's not going to get you the results you want. Again, like a diet, for instance, you can know the right foods to eat, but until you actually turn it into a habit, it's not going to give you the results. So in every episode of this podcast, Let Yourself Off the Hook, I'm going to share with you some ideas and information, some different ways of thinking about things, of looking at things. And I think you're going to find it really interesting because, like you, I'm only interested in the real truth. In other words, things that work, not just fancy ideas that sound like they should work. Now, I want to know, is this going to work for me in my life? And when I apply it, does it work for me in my life? And like you, I've spent far too much of my life wasting time, it seems, on things that don't work, that have never worked. And no matter how hard I try, they just simply never worked. So that's the first thing. I'm going to give you ideas and information that you are going to say, that makes sense. I get it. And I really understand that. And that seems so logical. A lot of things are going to be quite simple, but you're going to go, why didn't I think of that before? Again, this is what my journey's been about, is coming to all of these conclusions. I used to think, why didn't I know that? Why didn't someone tell me that? It's so obvious now that you mention it. So that's the first thing. And the second thing is, with each episode, it's going to be about, how can I turn this new way of thinking, this new way of living my life, and this new information, how can I turn letting myself off the hook into habits, so that I actually get the results that a habit is going to give me? I actually see the results in my life. I don't just walk away from listening and saying, oh, Liam's interesting and that's all very good, and I feel really good and motivated and excited, and that's great, but nothing changes in your life. Because this is all about results. I'm not just interested in you saying, well, he sounds good and, thank you very much, and it's great information. That's not what it's about. It's about you getting real results in your life. Demonstrable results. So I know I've thrown a lot at you in this very first episode, and I hope you're beginning to see that maybe this is a fresh approach. Maybe this is what you're looking for. Maybe this is a new look at the whole issue of success and solving problems and achieving what I really want in my life, which is that feeling, that knowing, yes, I'm on the right track with my life. My life is actually working, both on the outside. I'm doing all of the things I've always wanted to do. I'm loving my life on the outside. But even more importantly, I'm loving my life on the inside. I feel great. I feel loving and grateful, and I feel like life's worth living. And that's the way we should feel all the time. So that's what this podcast is about. So I know I've thrown a lot at you, but here's something to think about as we wrap up. What if success in life really was about working with life, with the natural world, rather than against it? So in other words, instead of fighting and struggling and trying to change what is, what if it was about actually taking what is, stepping into the power of what is, and actually using that to improve my life, using the power that I already have and that already exists and that's already around me, and using all of the natural laws, using them, going with them, rather than trying to fight against them. Again, coming back to the gravity analogy, instead of saying, I'm going to try and figure a way to walk off that 10-story building and go up, instead of saying, well, whatever the law is that governs the fact that I must go down, why don't I work with that to see what I can get, or how I can use that to better my life? And I'm sure you'd agree, if you spend your life trying to figure out how to go up when you go off a building, rather than figuring out how going down you can use that to improve your life, you're going to get a completely different result. One is the first, you're not going to get anywhere, and you're going to end up frustrated, with problems, always confused, distressed. The other one, you're going to go, I get it now. Makes sense. Now I get it. This is how I use life. You know, there's the story of, instead of trying to fight gravity, instead of trying to fly up, maybe you just let go. Maybe you just let yourself off the hook, and you realize that when you step off a 10-story building, you can actually fly. You can actually use something like a hang glider wing or something. You can use an apparatus to actually use that for an enjoyable experience. You can use the law of gravity and the other laws of nature to turn it into a pleasurable experience. So that's the thought I want to leave you with. Open yourself up to an idea that you can use the power of what exists in your life. You can use it, you can work with it to get everything you want, including everything on the outside that you want and everything on the inside that you want. And there's a way to do that without stress, struggle, and confusion. That's what letting yourself off the hook is all about. And I look forward to talking to you in the next episode. We're going to dive deep into more about what letting yourself off the hook is, how you can use it in your life on a practical level, and then you'll see some interesting things happen, I'm pretty sure. Thanks for listening, and we'll catch you next time. This is Liam Naden signing off. Thanks for watching. But before you go, there's some action to take. Hit the subscribe and like buttons and leave your thoughts in a comment below. I'd love your feedback. And if you have friends who you think would benefit from this, please share it with them. Thanks again for your support, and stay tuned for more from me, Liam Naden. And remember, you can only reach your full potential when you let yourself off the hook.